Why do we fear the uncanny valley?
Take a look at this image.
Oh, this video is probably going to be really
Doesn't make you-
creepy, by the way. I should probably preface that.
Take a look at this image. How does it make you feel? Spooked?
I don't know. I've seen, I don't want to say uncanny valley is like not scary anymore, but I've seen so much uncanny valley that it's still disturbing, but it doesn't hold that same value of disturbingness that it had when I first saw Momo for the first time. When I was a kid and I saw Momo, oh my God. Nightmares for weeks. What is uncanny valley? Something that looks human but isn't. It's like they look like they're a person, but something's off about them. A lot of the time it's their eyes, because when you look at people, the first thing, like when you look at a person's face, what's the first thing you look at? Usually their eyes and then maybe their nose and mouth. Like this is like a human. The rest of the usually doesn't matter. Like that's not, if somebody has weird hair, you're just gonna be like, I don't like your hair. I don't like your chin. I don't like your jaw structure. But like this is a person. And honestly, I would even say remove the nose. I would say their eyes and their mouth. And uncanny valley, like if it looks compressed or weird, it creeps you out.
Frightened? Bewildered, maybe? This is the uncanny... Okay, you all probably know what the uncanny valley is. But if you don't, it's a psychological theory that explains the discomfort people feel towards something that looks almost human, but not quite. As shown in this graph, as something becomes more human-like in appearance, people respond more positively to it, until a certain point where we find it disturbing. This dip or valley in affinity.
Yeah, if something's like 70% human, it's creepy. But if it's anywhere in between or outside of that, lower or higher, it's fine.
Is called the uncanny valley. Take for example dolls. At the midpoint of the graph, we might have something like this. You can tell that it's not human, it's cartoony, and doesn't have super realistic
And then there's Annabelle.
features, but then we have something like this. Now me personally,
I wouldn't say that's creepy. It's more disturbing. I wouldn't say it's uncanny valley though. There's definitely weirder looking dolls.
I find this a little creepy. I don't know what it is, but there's something in those eyes, man. I don't like it.
They look sunken.
Now it does vary depending on the person. Obviously these toys sell, so not everyone finds these creepy. But there is a reason dolls
now that's creepy.
are a big part of the horror genre. In this video, I'm not going to be focusing on what the uncanny valley is, as I kind of just did that, and plenty of others have already covered it. Instead, I'll be exploring the different theories that try to explain why we fear the uncanny valley.
I think the one that I heard that I found the most cool, even if it's likely wrong, is that other forms of humans existed outside of Homo sapiens in our lifetime, or not in our lifetime, in humanity's lifetime, and they looked human but were a lot different. And I've showed pictures before this becomes a YouTube video. Editors, show up pictures of different humans, like earlier humans or things that were alive when humans were alive, and they look off. And I don't want to say it's like a biological, evolution capability that we've adapted to, but it was like at some point in human history, in Homo sapien history, there was a need to be able to distinguish humans versus things that looked human but looked a little not human too. Like they were either underdeveloped or overdeveloped, or had a different bone structure and their skulls look different. And so it's supposed to like disturb you because you have to be able to recognize like, that's not me. That's not one of me. That's not a Homo sapien. That's Homo habilis. That's Neanderthals. Something like that.
What in our evolutionary past or psychology
Corpses carry diseases, that's why? What do you mean? Like when something dies, it looks like uncanny valley? I wouldn't say that corpses look like uncanny valley. I would say they just look like dead. High IQ Joe Bart quote there. They just look dead. The reason that humans look uncanny valley when they're dead is because the fucking people at the coroner's office or whatever put 10 pounds of makeup on them and like string their eyeballs shut and shit to make them look human. I don't know. I don't want to say I'd rather them just leave them like a fucked up dead guy, but I mean, I'd rather be cremated. I would honestly, when I die, just burn me or chuck me in the woods. You don't even need to bury me. Let the fucking rats eat me. Okay? Like, I'm dead. It doesn't matter. You don't need to see, I don't need to be in a nice position wearing a fucking suit and tie and my favorite watch like this. Just fucking burn me.
Gives us
Throw me in a waste to energy plant. Fuel somebody's fucking PC for 20 minutes.
this fear of things that look almost human. Will we uncover the answer? Well, you'll have to stick around to find out as we dive into
Would you donate your body to a body farm? I'm an organ donor. So if I get hit by a car and die, they'll fucking cut me open and start taking my shit. I think everybody should be that. I don't know why people don't do that. If it's like religious purposes, that's one thing. But like, bro, you need to hold on to your liver when you're dead. You need to hold on to your fucking skin. That's gonna bother you.
the mystery.
You don't need it's like I never understand that shit on like, you know, oh, I have to look this way at my funeral or this and this and it has to go this way. Yo, you're dead, beast. Yo, you don't exist anymore. It's not like, oh, I'm dead and you're like, you know, actively like, damn, I wish they played a different song at my death looking at the funeral proceedings. Like, you're gone. Even if there is an afterlife, I would assume you would be there and not actively watching what clothing they're putting on you at your funeral.
The uncanny valley.
Where's the intruder?
I don't know that's creepy. That's creepy. I don't know other theories, though. Outside of it being a, you know, human evolution thing of other animals or other types of, like, you know, Homo habilis, whatever the fuck. What else would it be? Why are we afraid of Uncanny Valley? When you're a kid, maybe, and you're not like... Do you think kids are afraid of Uncanny Valley? Kids aren't afraid of clowns, though, and, like, creepy shit when they're really young because they don't recognize what's normal and what's not normal. And they develop that really early on. Like, young kids will cry when they see creepy shit. But if you show, like, an infant, like, a fucking really creepy Halloween mask, they'll just look at it because they don't know what it is. I think that's what it is. Yo, that's what it is. Early babies and infants stare at humans so much that they get a general average understanding of what a human looks like. And then when they see something that looks off, it disturbs them.
Fair warning, this video will contain imagery that people may find disturbing, so leave now if you don't like that. You know what? Actually, let me get this out of the way. Boo! Okay. That was the scariest one. Not that bad, right? Anyway, now onto the theories. The theory of mate selection suggests that uncanny features make us feel uneasy because our brains are wired to avoid potential mates who show signs of low fertility, poor health, or weak immune systems. I can see how this could make sense. People have a natural reaction to others they would or wouldn't like to.
No, I think that's wrong because you find people that are poorly suited for survival ugly, not disturbing. If you like see so like people are naturally attracted to people that look healthy. Like you could have offspring and they won't die at a young age. Like that's what you generally base your animalistic tendencies off of. I wouldn't say it's I'm never looking at Momo and going, Momo's ugly. Is Momo ugly? Yeah. But I'm not like, that's not my first thought. I'm going, ooh, jump scare, right? Maybe so ugly that it's disturbing. Maybe. maybe Uncanny Valley is so ugly that it becomes disturbing.
Badoingle with more attractive people are received more positively
Wow, that's a new term. I'm going to add that to my fucking, hat of tricks.
in our minds, and less attractive people, not so much. I mean, look at modeling, movies, TV, even politics. A lot of it is cultural, sure, but our brains are wired to favor more attractive people.
Your brains are more wired to favor attractive people in almost every fucking setting ever. If you're electing somebody for president, watching a movie star, like you don't see like ugly actors very often. You will, but a lot of the time, ugly actors, and this is not me dissing them or their attractiveness, but like a lot of ugly actors will play ugly roles. Like, have you ever seen a movie and there's just like the nerdy, ugly, fat guy, and that's his role? Is like he's like a smelly fat guy, and you're like, somebody somebody cast him for that. Like, he auditioned to be extra, in parentheses, fat guy, and they needed him, and he auditioned for that. Like, that, in that scenario, I would say yeah, but most of the time, people don't cast uglier people or, like, influencers. I don't want to say that it's every time, but, like, I don't know many top 100 streamers that I would find ugly. Like, ugly. Maybe unattractive, but not ugly. XQC's not ugly. I think XQC is a good-looking guy. I don't think Lacey's ugly. I met Lacey. I think Lacey's a very normal-looking dude. I don't think he's ugly. You know what I mean? Especially, I mean, this was also just, like, men and, you know, men being, you know, fucking whack, but women specifically, too, on Twitch. Queso is so fine. I don't think Queso's ugly. Women a lot of the time, though, as well. Like, I don't know. People favor attractiveness in social spaces, in social media, in movies, in elections, in job markets.
Though I don't.
Even if you're like, if you are applying for a job, I don't know stats on this, but if you're applying to a job and you and the other candidate have the same exact credibility, same interview, and you ran a test where one person was like, say, a 9 out of 10 to the interviewer and the other person was like a 7, I bet the more attractive person would get the job most of the time.
I don't really agree with this theory. For one, we can find people of a group we aren't attracted to unattractive or frightening. Like, we can see straight dudes bullying other straight dudes for being unattractive. Or I guess in the case of the Uncanny Valley, a straight girl can find Momo scary. And for another...
What?
I mean, come on.
Oh! He's saying this is to debunk it. Like, yeah, like a straight woman would be like, Momo is still disturbing.
You really think people are scared of these things because they don't want to do the devil's tango with them? Speaking of the devil...
That it's a demon?
Many creatures from folklore and religious texts fall into the Uncanny Valley. Creatures like the Nephilim and the Devil from the Christian Bible, the Golem in Jewish folklore, or the Wendigo from Algonquin cultures. All of these are human-like creatures with something unsettlingly off. The Nephilim and Golems, for instance, are giants, larger-than-life versions of human beings. The Devil has the form of a man but with animalistic features, and the Wendigo, as described by Basil H. Johnston...
Bruh, that is not Uncanny Valley, dude. That is a bipedal moose with flesh missing. I would go, that's creepy. If you were like, yeah, that's Uncanny Valley, I would go, you have no idea what Uncanny Valley means. That's just disturbing.
By Basil H. Johnston, has skeletal, emaciated features as if it were a hollow shell of a person. A common theme in these creatures is the idea of soullessness or a broken soul. The idea that they are human-like beings.
Oh, I hate these videos. I hate those videos. Stop.
Distinctly lack the sort of thing that would make them truly alive or human. Kind of like how I feel when someone says Mosasaurus or Pterodactyl's a dinosaur, which they are not. But soullessness is also something we associate with robots or dolls. Human-like, but completely artificial.
Yeah, unconscious. Or not even unconscious. They don't have the capacity for human emotion. It's more so just like they're like a robotic thought machine.
Entities. This theory, I like to call the religious theory, suggests that our fear of the uncanny comes from a...
I low-key feel like this is how I would perceive aliens. I don't think aliens would look anything like humans, but I think if they did, they would look like a very weird off version of us, and it would disturb me heavily. No, seriously. Like, if aliens came down and they looked like Uncanny Valley, I'd be like, yeah, no. They're here to kill us.
A deep-rooted fear of the soulless. Demon.
I think they'd be humanoid. I don't think they would. I think aliens being humanoid is so... Life itself is unlikely, but very, possible. I would say, definitively out there. Intelligent life, even more impossible. Intelligent life that also looks like humans? Bro. Fucking 1 in a bajillion trillion. Never.
Fallen angels, golems. Beings that resemble us but lack what truly makes us human. Personally, though, just like the last theory, I'm not totally convinced. It's not that I dismiss the theory because it's religious. Rather, I find it hard to believe that we fear something simply because it lacks a soul. After all, there's a lot more concrete evidence backing up other theories. Still, it's an interesting perspective to consider as we explore other...
I think it also might be lack of emotions or the copying of emotions that look off. Like somebody that's trying too hard to be human. Like Uncanny Valley faces smiling. It's never like a... It'll be like a... And there's always like a weird tint to it that is uncomfortable. Like... You're trying to look real and you're not. I don't want to say like psychopaths trying to show emotion, but like somebody that's incapable of having just genuine like human, like I don't want to say like Dexter, because Dexter's also not real, but like, you know how in Dexter he had to train himself to show emotion like that, but like when he was bad at it.
Other theories that may be a little more convincing.
Music changed for copyright reasons.
The predator theory suggests that there used to be human-like creatures that preyed on humans in the past.
This is it! This is it!
Similar to the religious theory, a lot of people associate things like giants, demons, mythological creatures, and cryptids. This is different from the mimic theory, though, which I'll get into later, as that these are just creatures that look like humans and are not intentionally trying to mimic humans. The only evidence people really have to back up this theory, though, is saying something like, oh, well, so many cultures across the world have stories about humanoid creatures. They gotta be real, right?
No, I'm not even saying humanoid creatures. I'm just saying Homo sapiens existed when like 7 other types of humans did. And they all killed each other. I mean, we won, but like they probably killed some of us.
I hate that opinion.
We have stories about humanoid creatures today. A bunch of them. Take the rake, for example. There are people who believe this creature exists despite obvious proof of it originating on the internet, on 4chan, or Slenderman. 2 girls stabbed their friend over this guy. If you believe this theory, I don't blame you. It spread a lot across TikTok and Instagram, which, if you've seen my other videos, you should know is kind of a theme. Now, I will say, there is actual evidence of humanoid creatures existing with our ancestors. They're called Neanderthals.
It's not even Neanderthals, though. I wouldn't even say Neanderthals. What other humans existed? What other humanoids existed while Homo sapiens did? Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo antecessor, heidelbergensis. Let's look that one up. Yeah, bro. Homo florensis. Let's look up one more. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they look like Uncanny Valley, bro. They look like Uncanny Valley. Like, because it's like... It looks like I don't want to say like underdeveloped, but they look like humans, but from fucking 150,000 years ago. More than that.
And other hominids. Now, this is another theory people throw around, the other hominid theory, as I like to call it.
Oh, yeah, that's my theory.
Theory that we developed a fear of ancient hominid species because they look like us, but just a little off, and we competed with them. It's not a bad theory. I mean, some of these guys do look a little freaky. Me personally, I don't find them that scary. But one of the main problems...
Bro, but if you saw one in real life, dude, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, imagine that. I mean, yeah, we were a little less conscious then, too. But imagine, you're an early Homo sapien, you pull up, and it's just one of those dudes just, like, standing there, like, butt-ass naked, holding some makeshift weapon, just, like, waiting for you. Oh, fuck.
Problems I have with this is... If we were so freaked out by these guys, why the hell do I have Neanderthal DNA? I mean, my ancestors bred with these guys.
Yeah, some people are freaky, dude. I don't think it was Neanderthals. I think it was the ones before them. Dude, Neanderthals, that's the thing, though. Neanderthals are like just shorter, stockier humans. But the other ones are, like, really different.
Plus, some of these things that are part of the Uncanny Valley do not look like some of these hominids.
I mean, that's true. Disease. Oh, this is what one chatter said when people look sick.
The disease theory suggests that our fear of human-like objects and creatures might come from a prehistoric instinct to avoid corpses and sick people. And it makes sense when you think about it. Robots and dolls that look almost human often have stiff,
If you start looking like this when you got the flu, bruh, you need to go to a hospital, man. That is not, it's to avoid sick people. How sick are you? Oh my God. If you start looking like fucking Momo when you're sick, yo, number one, you're gonna die. If your whole facial structure, your bone structure starts changing, that's not happening. I feel like this is the dumbest theory in the world.
natural movements and lifeless expressions, kind of like someone who's sick or dead. The theory is that our brains still pick up on these signals as a warning, just like it did for our ancestors, even though now we're dealing with robots, dolls, weird CGI, and sick people. I think this theory does make sense for a lot of cases. Take this for example, a prop of a severed head used for the show Dexter. Yes, it's fake, it's not real. Please, don't
Dexter!
block my video again. It gives off some uncanny vibes, and it is supposed to be a recreation of a dead person, so it fits this theory.
That's not uncanny. That's not uncanny. That doesn't scare me. It just looks like a dead person. What? I mean, dead people, yeah, it'd be like disturbing to go, but like, I'm not like, oh, uncanny valley. You know? When I was 10 years old and I saw Momo, that was my response. If you showed me that when I was 10, I'd be like, yeah, that just looks like a dead guy.
Honestly, a lot of uncanny valley images apply to this theory. For some examples, Momo with the shrink wraps.
Who the fuck looks like that? Who the fuck looks like that? Oh my God. Yeah, if you got your soul sucked out of you in that fucking Monsters Inc. machine. Jesus Christ. No one looks like that. That's not a fucking thing.
Skull-like face and bulging eyes. This drawing by Sinister Scribbles.
What?
Again, a shrink-wrapped, skull-like face.
Shrink wrapped. Dude, they look like a marshmallow creature.
With bulging eyes. That
Were they left in water for 6 months? Oh my God.
old YouTube video called My Dead Great Grandma's Coffin in My Own Backyard, where that dude kisses a literal corpse. I'm not gonna get.
What?
YouTube video called My Dead Great Grandma's Coffin in My Own Backyard, where that dude kisses a literal corpse. I'm not gonna get more into that. If you know, you know. And
That happened.
even the police sketch of the Baton Rouge serial killer almost looks like a pale, dead body. It's even
I mean, that's creepy. That's definitely creepy.
got the dark lips and exaggerated eye sockets. So, mystery solved, right? Well, I'm not entirely convinced. I know I said this for every other theory.
Though I don't really agree with this theory. Personally, though, I'm not totally convinced. I hate that opinion. Why the hell do I have Neanderthal DNA?
But I do definitely think this is the strongest theory so far. But there are a few examples that I can't quite fit into this theory. Specifically, CGI and deepfakes. Take a look at this image. Or this one. Some may say
That's not disturbing. That is not uncanny valley. That just looks dumb.
they're just a little weird, nothing too bad. Others may say they're scary. Personally, I don't mind them too much. I used to watch the Polar Express every Christmas as a kid, so maybe I'm just used to it. But I think we can all agree there's something.
I hated that fucking kid from Polar Express. What would he sing? What was that dumbass song he'd sing? Lonely as shit at the back of the train. Bro, go talk to your friends, bro. Oh my God. Like, I don't even know why he was, like, literally, he was like just sitting in the back of the train, just sitting in the back of the train. They were like, yo, we'll be your friend. And he's sitting out there alone. Just fucking, I'm like, dude, what? I fuck with him. I mean, I hated the one kid with the glasses the most. What would he sing? Now I gotta reenact that. Polar Express song sad. Oh, this. Oh, when Christmas comes tomorrow. Throw him off the train. You ain't going to see Santa Claus, buddy.
Off about them. But it's not
This ain't a musical.
because they look diseased or dead like the last theory. They just look off. So what could explain this?
That one is so creepy. Stop showing the fucking bathroom one. Oh my God, chat. That would be the most I think I would have a heart attack. Where is it? That. Oh my God. I would actually die. If I was taking a piss in the bathroom and I hear like a rustling noise and I look down and I'm getting shivers. And like I have goosebumps on my fucking whole body right now. If I looked down and I saw somebody staring at me like that, I would actually stomp. I would immediately go, ah! Panic. And then I would try and kick the fuck out of their head. Like, knock them the fuck out. Break their skull. I'd kick it like a soccer ball. Unless I was drunk, then you just divert your pee pattern. Yeah, you just start going, what the fuck? You're still peeing. You're just peeing on them. They're like, dude. Fully break character. I was sick, so my voice sounds weird in this part. Stop. What the fuck?
Homo mimus phallusis, or more simply known as the doppelganger, a fictional creature concept created by user Ohio Pingu69, what a name, on r/speculative evolution. The doppelganger is a mammalian creature that evolved a particular fancy for human flesh, and relies on it solely as its food source. Evolving in Africa alongside humans, the doppelganger gained adaptations to help it hunt humans in the dark. A lanky body with long limbs that both helped it climb and reach speeds up to 50 kilometers per hour. Cushioned feet that absorb sound, and of course, a face that mimics that of a human. But would you be fooled by this? Probably not, right? I mean, it's got no eyebrows, it's completely pale, the eyes are a little far apart, it overall doesn't look too much like a human. But that's the point. This creature uses the confusion that the uncanny valley generates to bewilder its prey before attacking.
Yeah, like, why does it look like me?
Now, of course, this thing isn't real, but it's a good introduction to this theory as it distinguishes itself.
Okay, I don't want to say I wish this thing was real, but you know how crazy that would be if they found like a skeletal structure of an animal that mimicked humans?
From the predator theory. This creature evolved adaptations to look like humans because it hunted humans. Things like Neanderthals and other hominids look like humans because we have a common ancestor. Or if we go the religious route, things like giants and folk creatures, for the most part, don't look like humans to trick them, they just look like humans because that's how they were created. That is what distinguishes the predator theory from the mimic theory. Now, the first idea in this theory is that in our very distant past, as in when we were little rodent things or even earlier, there was something that adapted to look similar to us in order to trick us into trusting.
We would not carry that trait millions of years into now. Get the fuck out of here. When we weren't even humanoid, like when we weren't not even Homo sapien, not even Homo habilis, like pre-ape us, like dinosaur when we were living in the ground us. No.
And prey on us. Similar to the doppelganger mentioned before, but way further in the past, and we've just retained that fear. The second idea is that something in our recent past has given us this fear, aka something that is purposely, with thought, imitating humans. Obviously, the main idea of this theory is something supernatural, like a shape-shifting cryptid, or alien, or something like that. But it could also have relation to the other hominid and disease theory. It could be that these other hominids, or maybe even other humans, wore the skin of humans in order to intimidate us or other tribes, and it has been ingrained in us to fear this imitation. There isn't much evidence backing up this theory. There's no evidence of non-hominid creatures mimicking humans, nor is there any evidence of the supernatural doing this. I mean, there's videos online, but most of that shit's fake, so not much of evidence. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you probably know that I like to debunk stuff. The Philadelphia experiment, Delois ape, and the theories of the body girl are all things I've tried to go through and find the truth for. With this, you'd think I'd do the same. I mean, it sounds kind of absurd when you look into it. Humans wearing other human skin, a supernatural shape-shifting creature, I mean, come on. But one night, I was really thinking to myself why I fear the uncanny valley. I was looking at this image specifically when I really tried to think about it, and I realized this doesn't make me uncomfortable because it looks like a dead person or soulless, or because I don't want to badoingle it, but because it looks like it's trying to mimic a human. And that is what makes me uncomfortable. And yet, I'm still not convinced. I know, I'm sorry. So you know what? Enough of my opinions. Let's look at what the science has to say about it.
The science Google.
Okay, so I recorded and edited that last part before even writing this part. Little did I know I would not find much of anything that I haven't already said. I did find that the science for the Uncanny Valley is quite debated. In fact, the very existence of the Uncanny Valley, separate from other fears, is pretty debated. The most accepted theories by scientists seem to be the disease theory, and to my surprise, the mate selection theory. There are a lot of other...
Dude, I don't even think it's mate selection theory. I think it's what I said in the beginning, outside of the other shit. I think it's just, when you're a kid, you understand what humans look like, and you develop an average of what people look like, and the curiosity turns to fear when things don't look like what you think they would look like. Like, you expect something to be a specific way, and it's not, and you're scared.
Other theories out there. If you want to do more research, I've got some links.
Sometimes it's curiosity, sometimes it's fear. And I'm not trying to use this as a disrespectful manner, but have you ever seen a kid be around somebody that's like physically disabled? Like a young kid, like a 5-year-old. They are either scared or very curious every time. Like they stare at physically disabled people. Like whether it be their face or their body, like they want to know why they look different than what they think the average person looks like. I think that's what pans into it. It's just the uncanny valley. It's like, hey, you don't really look what I associate the average person looking like.
In the description, but according to most sources I found, it's most likely the disease theory, but there really is no solid consensus on why we have this fear, which is why I made a video on it, and why it fascinates me so much. It's something we really don't have a good grasp of, and it's something creepy that we don't have a good grasp of, so it really, it just really...
What did TBDJ just send in the fucking... TBDJ, what the fuck is that?
Why is your hand like that?
I've already liked this video. I've seen that.
Why is your hand like that? Why is your hand like that? Sorry, I was looking at your hand. No, because I'm looking at it and it looks all fucking weird. No, because I'm looking at it right now and it like hurts my eyes to look at. Oh.
No, but I mean, dude, like, I don't know. It's rude from our perspective, but like, dude, a 5-year-old has no idea if that's fucked up. You know? They just want to know.
Really gets me interested. But which theory do you believe in? Let me know in the comments. I know I kind of ragged on a couple of them, but if you believe in one of those, you do you, man. I get the perspective coming from all these theories. Some of these things look in between human and animal, physically unappealing, soulless, predatory, disease, mimicking humans, whatever. Me personally, I'm gonna go with the disease theory. I know.
I think that one also makes sense, but I just can't understand why. I mean, maybe like... Because there's no uncanny valley of... I've never looked at somebody that's really sick and been disturbed. I've just been like, you look really sick. I don't know. That was a fun video, though. Lemonade for the sub.